How this crypto exchange could crash the crypto market without being operating since 2014. In the video of today, we're gonna talk about the history of Mt Gox, a crypto exchange that crashed on 2014 and that now is paying back its customers the funds that they took and may crash the market given the huge amount of crypto they are getting back. But first, we're gonna see the whole story of Mt Gox because it's just crazy, and after we'll see, as I said, the price and how it can affect the price of Bitcoin, if it will affect the price of Bitcoin or if it's just a minor thing that may not affect the price of Bitcoin. Please remember, as always, if you like the content, smash the like button for the algorithm. If you want more videos like this, you can always subscribe. And now, let's get into it. Let's go! Okay, so here we are, and today we are gonna talk about Mt Gox. As I said, this exchange of cryptocurrency was huge during the 2014 bull run, and it crashed, losing more than 800,000 bitcoins for their customers. Okay, this exchange crashed in 2014, and people who was owned money may get this money now. Okay, we are gonna follow this thread that Miles Deuster did. As I always say, in Twitter, there's a lot of good accounts that you should follow. This is one of the guys I like to follow, actually, even though it seems like I'm not following him because I follow him in my other account. But in general, you have good information, so feel free to follow him. And in general, we're gonna talk about those 137,000 bitcoin, which is $3 billion that may be dumped into the market because they may come into the market now. So first, we are gonna understand what is Mt Gox, because a lot of people talk about it, but they don't really, most of people don't really know Mt Gox. Okay, it was an exchange that was huge 8 years ago, okay, in 2014, but now, now nobody really knows it. So how did everything started? How did Mt Gox started? Well, actually, Mt Gox was founded by Jed McCaleb, which, just as a note, is also one of the founders of Stellar. Okay, Stellar is one of the cryptocurrencies who has the less amount of fees, so it's very well known for being used to send money abroad. Okay, I use it actually; it's very good cryptocurrency. So basically, in 2006, this guy Jed McCaleb decided to create an exchange to trade Magic the Gathering cards. Yes, I'm talking real. Like he created an exchange for that. As you may know, Magic the Gathering is a game of cards that, well, some cards have a lot of value, and he wanted to create a place where you could buy and sell them. Okay, so basically the name is Mt Gox because it's Magic the Gathering online exchange, which is just crazy, right? Anyways, he opened the place, but he didn't really use it. After a few months, he just went away, and he said, like, well, this is not very interesting, let's keep it here. But in 2010, sorry, Jet discovered Bitcoin. Okay, we are seeing that he's one of the first guys who discovered Bitcoin. Basically, he's one of the guys who was in the beginning, and he said, like, hey, there is no place to buy Bitcoin. Okay, in 2010 there was impossible to buy Bitcoin. You had some places where if you get a captcha you get Bitcoin, but everything was very complicated. He said, hey, why don't we create an exchange for Bitcoin? And he said, I already have the domain for Mt Gox, so let's just call it Mt Gox. Why not, right? So after 10 months, this exchange grew a lot, and he just sold it. Okay, we're talking 2010. He already sold an exchange of crypto because he said, hey, I got enough money, it's all right, you just pay me out and I'll sell you the exchange. And he sold it to Mr. Mark Kerpel. Okay, this guy will follow us the whole story because he was the boss of Mt Gox until the end. So after a few months with Mark on charge, the exchange started to grow, and they had a volume of 20,000 transactions per day. Remember that Bitcoin was trading at around $1, so it was still very small. Okay, 20,000 transactions per day. We're talking a volume of $20,000. That's a very small exchange if we compare with now, but in those days that was huge. Okay, so this sounds like very easy stuff, but it was super complicated. Okay, nothing went as fluid as it should. In 2011, they were hacked for the first time, and they lost 25,000 BTC. Okay, because they got a computer compromise, which means someone like hacking their computer, and they lost in the time $400,000 in Bitcoin. But if we take today prices, that would be around $525 million, which is just crazy. So basically, also the attackers created fake market movements. They start selling Bitcoin on the platform to make the price collapse to like 1 cent and buy more Bitcoin and get some free Bitcoin. Basically, they got hacked super hard, and it's not the only time. Okay, in the next years, in 2013, they also had a problem with the lock fork, and they caused a 23% crash in the price of Bitcoin. They suspended trading in April, causing a 50% drop in Bitcoin. They had a lawsuit of 75 million in May, and they suspended withdrawals on June 20th. Like, it's just, it's kind of crazy how much the bad news they got, okay? But even with that, their trading volume continued to explode and they grow a lot, okay? 70% of all Bitcoin trades were going through them in those times. You can see here how the volume started growing. And remember, Bitcoin was worth nothing here, okay? It went from $1 to $1,000, okay? It's the first bull run of Bitcoin. After this, in December 2013, everything seemed amazing because Bitcoin went to $1,000 for the first time. It was literally the peak of the bull run. You can see over here it went to 1001, I think 1040, something like that, but then it went down to 200. So yeah, it got a huge crash after. So in 2013, everything sounds amazing. Mt Gox is making a lot of money because they are the main exchange and everyone is happy, right? Well, that didn't last long because in February, customers are starting to complain saying, hey, I'm not getting my money back. What is going on? I'm trying to withdraw and I cannot withdraw. And on the 7th, Mt Gox officially suspended withdrawal and they said that they had to check something because they had a technical problem. People were still kind of like, what is going on? This is kind of shady. So on the 10th, they said, hey, we found a bug in the Bitcoin software, which means basically we have been hacked again. And basically this bug inside the platform made it available to send money to one place, cancel the order, but still send the money, and have the same money in your account and send it again. So basically they were sending 2 transactions, so double the money. So they were basically scamming them and taking the money from them. This is called transaction malleability, okay? In the next 2 weeks, angry customers were left in the dark. Basically they couldn't withdraw their Bitcoin, but the CEO said like, well, we should be able to resume withdrawal soon and we're committed to solving this issue. In case you don't remember, the Voyager guy says the same, Celsius is saying the same, and every single operation that crashed said literally the same. Even Susu said the same thing before crashing 3 Arrows Capital. If you want to know about these other like crypto exchanges that are crashing right now, you have the videos over here about Celsius, about Voyager, about 3 Arrow Capital. I think we cover all of them, and all of them always love to say, no, we're working very hard, I'm sure we're gonna find it out, and then they are bankrupt. So 3 days after the guy resigned from the board of directors of BTC Foundation, which is a different foundation, and Mt Gox deleted Twitter and deleted their website, okay? Which means basically they went offline. They said like, we disappeared, we never were here, you know? So on February 24th, there was a leak of a document who said that they had lost 850,000 Bitcoins, which is huge, okay? That's 4% of the total BTC supply, and it's equivalent of $18 billion, which is an incredible amount right now, okay? Obviously, in those days, it was much less, probably like 850 million. So 4 days later, they applied for bankruptcy and they said that they had lost 750 billion, of which 100 were theirs, okay? So in total, 750,000, Bitcoin, not billion, which is, in those days, it was 63 million in debt, okay? It was not that huge. As you can see, this is a news from 2014 and they were 63 million in debt. They made this hearing. Also, it's very important to understand this exchange is Japanese, okay? So as you can see, everything is in Japanese because it was an exchange in Japan. So, as I said, in 2011, they were hacked, right? Do you remember that? Well, seems like when they were hacked was because their private keys got like stolen, but somehow in 2014, with the same thing, but doing it the opposite, they were able to re-earn 200,000 Bitcoins, which is very weird, actually. It's kind of sketchy, but they managed to get some of that Bitcoin back from the 850 that went missing, and they created and they applied for bankruptcy. I forgot to mention that they applied finally for bankruptcy. And what happened? Well, obviously, when you apply for bankruptcy, now the judge takes over it, and that's what they did. Okay, they created a trustee, which is basically like a commission who's starting to work to get the funds from the exchange to the customers, okay, to the depositors, because basically it doesn't mean that they lost all their money. They probably lost like a part of it. So now if you put like $1, they can give you like 80 cents, but there has to be a judge making everything, and it's very complicated. And as you will see, it'll take a long time to get your money back. But they started working in 2015 with Nobuji Kobayashi, which was like the main guy. He was like the boss of that, and they started trying to settle a situation so they can pay the customers, okay? So basically, during this time, the CEO, Mark Kerpel, also was found guilty of stealing from their customers 2.6 million, because when you were depositing like $100, he would take like 2 cents for himself. It was not like a fee or anything, it was literally for himself. He was just stealing, and well, right now he's in prison, actually. So yeah, this picture, he's in prison. So yeah, that was kind of crazy. So for years, Mt Gox was a thing from the past, because this process of lawyers, you need to understand, is very long. We're talking 2015, we're in 2022. Okay, we're talking more than 7 years. But in November of 2021, the Tokyo District Court formalize an official rehabilitation plan. What does it mean? It means that they are finally gonna pay their depositor, their creditors, 7 years later, which is just crazy, okay? This brings us to the day of today, basically July 6th, well, actually a couple of days ago. On July 6th, the creditors, the people who had their money there and they lost it, receive an email talking about payments, telling them, hey, we are about to pay you. We're finally gonna pay you. What is the problem? Well, these people has 137,000 Bitcoins, okay? They offer them actually to pay them in USD, Bitcoin, or Bitcoin Cash. So if you put $1,000, they can give you back your $1,000, or they can give you the amount of Bitcoin that you have, or the amount of Bitcoin Cash that you have. Obviously, everyone is gonna choose Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash that they have because it's like 10 times more, okay? If you put $1,000 there, even if you lost like 20%, you are still right now on around $20,000 because the price of Bitcoin just skyrocketed, okay? And we're in 20,000. Imagine if they were in 50,000. That would be just crazy, okay? It's just crazy numbers. So what is the real problem? The problem is all these people is gonna get Bitcoin, but they don't want the Bitcoin. Probably most of them want the dollars because they are tired of holding Bitcoin after 8 years and they're gonna sell all of it. So we have $3 billion going to the market right now. 137,000 Bitcoins going into the market, which is a crazy amount. That's the real risk, but that's what we're going to talk about with the price of Bitcoin. Because as you can see, the price of Bitcoin is already down, it's kind of stable now, but if a lot of people start selling, now we have 3 billion of pressure to sell Bitcoin, which is a lot of people selling, okay? This can make the price collapse and tank, okay? That's the main point. But can it really? Well, first of all, we need to understand that most of the people here, or not most, but at least a couple of them, have already sold their Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? How can they sell their Bitcoin if they don't even have it? Well, there's a lot of people who got arranged with hedge funds and they make agreements with them, maybe during 2017 or maybe during 2021, okay? And basically they said, hey, we'll buy your Bitcoin when you get it, but we'll give you the money now. And instead of buying your Bitcoin, let's say is at 50,000, at $50,000, we'll buy your Bitcoin at $23,000, but you get the money now. And I'm sure a lot of people said, yes, just give me the money. Whenever the Bitcoin comes, you can get how much you want. I don't care. Okay, so most of this Bitcoin is already in the hands of hedge funds, even though they don't have it yet. And yes, they may sell a little part of it, but they're not going to sell all of it, okay? Because these people is probably holding Bitcoin for the long term. They have different strategies, so they won't just sell it directly to the market, which is the biggest problem that we could have, okay? The other thing and the biggest concern is basically these people has been holding for 8 years. So there's two options. One, they already saw how Bitcoin goes up and up and up and up in value in the long term and they just hold it. Or two, they are very, very tired of holding, okay? Because it's the other option. Like, I mean, they started holding in 2014 and we're 2022. If it was me, I would sell. If it was you, what would you do? You would sell. Of course you would sell. Everybody would sell, at least a part of it. So for sure, we are going to have sell pressure. But is it really going to crash Bitcoin? Well, that's the big question, because we need to understand that last time when the Bitcoin price crashed, okay, we're talking from 40,000 to 20,000, was because of the Luna situation. And we need to understand that Luna dumped 80,000 Bitcoins, okay? And they weren't the only ones selling, because 3 Arrow Capital was selling, Celsius was selling, and miners were selling. We need to understand that miners sell much less, okay? Miners in May, they sell around 10,000 Bitcoin, which yes, is a lot, but it's not huge compared with this. But in total, they sold way more than this, because yes, this is probably like around 3 billion, but you need to understand that because they were selling, there was other people selling, there were collateral, there were things that were getting liquidated, and they were selling to the market, and those were huge numbers, okay? So it's not the same as now. Yes, $3 billion can definitely take the price down, and for sure will make the price pressure to go down higher, okay? If we are in 20,000, well, maybe we go down, of course, because these people, as soon as they get the money, for sure, some of them will start selling. But it doesn't mean, in my opinion, that the price will crash, because it's not the same. The event that we had where everything crashed was because there was a lot of liquidations. There was huge guys that got liquidated with this selling. They were selling huge, and we went from 40,000 to 20,000. But in my opinion, I think it's very difficult now to get those kind of drawdowns in the moment, because the only option that could happen is if these liquidations, if these people selling affect liquidation of other people and liquidate other people. In that case, yeah, we can have a cascade. It can be bad, but normally it should be all right. I think it will be a sell pressure that will stay for some time. They start paying in August, that's what they say. So it may take from August to December for everyone to get their money. They don't get everyone the same day, but for sure it will take some time. But I think it's just going to be sell pressure. obviously it's not going to help the price of Bitcoin. We have from here until December to understand that we have a lot of people trying to sell, so probably we're not going to grow exponentially. We never know, maybe we do, but I don't think it's going to crash the price of Bitcoin. I just think that it's going to make it go down a little bit. Will it crash the price of Bitcoin? As I said, if it touches some liquidation of other people and it gets involved, like it happened with Luna. Luna affected 3 Arrow Capital, 3 Arrow Capital affected Celsius. We have a lot of companies right now that are on the brink of bankruptcy. Okay, they are very close to bankruptcy. So if they would be touched by that bankruptcy now, yeah, they would have a big problem. Okay, in that case, yeah, we have a problem. Yeah, they may collapse the whole market, but I don't think they will collapse the market directly. It's a very interesting story. Mt Gox, if you go to the actual website, you can see that basically the judge is the owner of this, and they start putting information since like 2014. Well, it seems earlier, okay? 2014 second, okay? They have all of this put, and this is all by the judge. It's all the regulation they take. And as you can see, if your bank crashes, if your exchange crashes, it's gonna take a long time for you to get paid, okay? I made a video about Voyager crashing and everything crashing, and it's just gonna take time. Okay, it's impossible to crash your exchange and get your money fast. So that's why we have to choose interesting exchange where we can get our crypto secure, or use just your own crypto, your own wallet. That's the other option. If you like the video, please hit the like button for the algorithm. As I always say, if you like more videos like this, you can subscribe. And as I said, this is a crazy story that I wanted to share with you. And let's see what happened. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? You think it will crash? You think it won't affect? Do you think it will affect a lot? It will affect a little bit? I don't know. I'm just interested in knowing your story. And with this, we'll leave the video. See you in the next. Bye!